हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। और आज की वीडियो में हम A1 लेसन 13 स्टार्ट करेंगे, जहां हम पर्सनल प्रोनाउंस के बारे में सीखेंगे। एंड इन द लास्ट वीडियो वी लर्नड अबाउट हाउ टू टेल टाइम इन अनऑफिशियल इनफॉर्मल सिचुएशंस। और आज हम सीखेंगे पर्सनल प्रोनाउन नॉमिनेटिव केस में, जर्मन के नॉमिनेटिव केस में पर्सनल प्रोनाउंस क्या क्या होते हैं। सो विदाउट डिले लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। सो आज हम बात करेंगे पर्सनल प्रोनाउन, जिसे हम जर्मन में पर्सोनाल प्रोनोमेन भी कहते हैं। सो टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू कवर जस्ट द नॉमिनेटिव केस एंड पर्सोनाल प्रोनोमेन in German. In English we say personal pronouns. Now let's understand first what are pronouns. So personal pronouns replace the nouns in a sentence. They make the sentence shorter and avoid the repetition of noun. So the pronoun should match the gender of the noun which is being replaced. That means that German pronouns are gender specific. Hence, the nouns should be replaced by the appropriate pronouns. We will understand how in the upcoming slides. Now, these are few other things that we need to know when we are talking about personal pronouns. For example, whom you are talking to. First person, you are talking to yourself. Second person, when you are talking to someone. And third person is when you are talking about someone else. Another aspect to be considered is if the person is in singular or plural. So selecting a pronoun depends on these factors. Okay. Now, pronouns are not only used for person, they are also used for things. So let's look at first person. First set of pronouns in first person. So in singular it is ich, and in plural it's wir. So why ich? Here we are talking about just one person. I'm talking about just myself. Wir, here I'm talking about ourselves. So ich wohne in New York. I live in New York. And wir wohnen in New York. We live in New York. Hence, ich and wir are two personal pronouns of first person, singular and plural. Now let's look at this example. Ich heiße Petra. Ich komme aus Berlin. Ich habe ein Kind. Wir wohnen in Indien. Okay, so Petra is talking about herself in the first sentence, hence she is using the pronoun ich. As soon as she talks about herself and her kid, kind means kid, so she uses the personal pronoun wir. Wir wohnen in Indien. So we live in India. So she uses the first person plural wir. Now moving on to the second person informal situation. The situation we are talking in second person can either be formal or informal. Now we have already learned this in the previous lessons. So here are the pronouns in informal situations first. So when we are talking to a single person, we use du, and when we are talking to more than one person, we use ihr. So du means you and ihr means you all. So in second person informal situation, it's du and ihr. Now please do remember, since the situation is informal, you will address the people's name by their first name. So for example, Peter, wo wohnst du? Peter, where do you live? And in plural we would say Julia und Sabina, wo wohnt ihr? Julia and Sabina, where do you live? So here it's more than one person, and hence we are using the personal pronoun ihr. Now let's look at second person in formal situations. So in formal situations singular, it's sie. and in plural also it's Z. So in singular it means you, and in plural it means you all. Now please remember to use Z with capital S, irrespective of its position in the sentence, whether it's in the beginning or at the last. The S of the Z will always be capital in second person formal situation. Okay, now let's look at an example. Herr Müller, wo wohnen Sie? So here if you see, the Z, the S is capital even at the last of the sentence. So Mr. Müller, where do you live? Now if we see example in plural, Herr und Frau Müller, wo wohnen Sie? Mr. and Mrs. Müller, where do you live? So here it's more than one person, and we are using Herr and Frau, which means Mr. and Mrs., because it's a formal situation. Okay, so third person singular and plural. Now third person singular is very gender specific. So we have er, which is masculine, we have Z, which is feminine, we have S, which is neutrum. Now let's look at the examples of each of them. For example, das ist Peter. Peter wohnt in London. This is Peter, and Peter would be replaced with er, because what does personal pronouns do? Personal pronouns avoid repetition of the nouns. Hence, we won't write Peter twice. We would just replace it with er, because Peter is masculine. Er wohnt in London. This is Peter. He lives in London. Das ist Sabine. Sabine wohnt in Berlin. So again, Sabine is feminine, and hence we replace it with Z, which is for feminine. So das ist Sabine. Sie wohnt in Berlin. This is Sabine. She lives in Berlin. Now moving on to the neutrum case, neutral. Das ist ein Buch. Das Buch is alt. This is a book. It is old. So das Buch, since book has the article das, which is neutrum, we will replace it with S. S is alt. Now moving on to the plural situation. Again, we have Z. So if we are talking about more than one person, you would use Z. So, das sind Petra und Michael. Petra und Michael wohnen in Frankfurt. So, as I already mentioned, we learned that pronouns are used to avoid repetition of the nouns. Hence, the Petra und Michael in second sentence would be replaced with Z. Hence, das sind Petra und Michael. Sie wohnen in Frankfurt. This is Petra and Michael, and they live in Frankfurt. Now we have again two Z. This Z in singular, that which is in a feminine case, and this Z in plural. So this will be written with capital S only when it's at the beginning of the sentence. So if you could see here, it's in capital because after the full stop, the sentence, a new sentence is starting. Hence, we have S capital here. Otherwise, both the Z will always be small. Again, here also Z is with capital S because it's a new sentence. It's at the beginning of the sentence. Hence, Sie wohnen in Frankfurt. Now let's have a glance. Let's quickly have a glance. So we learnt that personal pronomen singular is ich in first person, du in second person informal, sie in second person formal, er, sie and s in third person singular. So these are the singular cases of first person, second person and third person. And when we look at plural side, first person plural would be wear, second person informal plural would be ear, and formal would be Z. So if you could see from the pictures, there is more than one person here. There is more than one person. And even here, and even in this picture. So it's plural. So third person plural will also be Z. And if you notice the capital and the small, so here if you notice second person formal is S capital, and again this here S is capital, and third person Z is small. So I hope this was clear and it was fun, because these are very important in when you make a sentence, when you would be making a sentence, these pronouns would be very useful, would be very important to use. So let me know in the comments below if you learned something today, and if you like this video, then do give me a thumbs up, and do not forget the drill to share and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video with the next topic. Till then, bye.